Hello, my impatience. Is Andrew the Android Koloski here. So when I discover the truth, when I discover the hidden realities, or maybe even the realities that are clear as day when it comes to my mother, how angry am I going to be? Was my mother a sadist who was getting pleasure from my suffering? Is my mother a sadistic monster? I feel like she is. I feel like my mother is clearly a sadist. It's obvious. My mother's just a fucking sadist, but there's going to be no Supreme Court case where I lock her in prison. I just have a sadistic and abusive mother, basically. That's basically the story, you know? I just have a sadistic and abusive mother. Who got pleasure from hurting me, basically. At times. Not all the time. At times. You know, my mother got pleasure from hurting me at times. This is an interesting one. It's called Sadistic Puppet Master. How I have strings attached to my mother. No freedom. She's a controller. And this one, all the pain I've been through is making me shut down. I'm internalizing and getting very quiet. I'm in a coma. I feel betrayed by everyone. I'm angry at my parents, friends, and family. Why didn't they intervene? They say leave the folks alone and take accountability and make my life happen. Stop blaming them. It's me. Let love back into my life, trust people, and start to socially engage again. Well, like, you know, I just want my mother to confirm and corroborate, the truth. I just want her to fucking confirm and corroborate the truth. Because I know she's a fucking sadist who tortured me, right? But she's just not going to admit to it. She's just not going to admit she fucking tortured me. And my stepfather tortured me too. Okay, I'll share with you a rendition of, you know, something that, Rusty created. It's called Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. You see me in the bathtub, and I say, Pikachu, use Thunderbolt. And it's obviously kind of like, kind of like the toaster in the bath, or that kind of thing. It's a joke. It's comedy. But after the HIV scare, after that's kind of how I feel. I feel defective, damaged, betrayed by everyone, my parents, my friends and family. I've been alone and involuntarily celibate for my whole life. I feel like my mother is a fucking sadist. I feel like she's a fucking sadistic torturer. And, I feel like she belongs in prison, basically. So he says, your mother isn't a torturer, Andrew. Toggle the emotional switch to off. She makes nasty comments. She makes things that clearly she says things that clearly have double meanings. So he says maybe you're having an emotional tsunami. Maybe you're having an emotional tsunami. Let me explain to you. Let me explain it to you. So I'm like, were my parents trying to render me a vegetable mind? Were they trying to cause neurological damage? Were they sadistic deceivers only creating a facade of help, or did they have good intentions the whole time? I suspect they were trying to kill me for something 20 to 25 years ago. From 2005 to 2011, were they trying to murder me? Did they have nefarious intentions? It feels like they did. I guess shut down the emotional thinking. My parents never wanted to hurt me. So it's like there's a switch in my brain and I'm angry and grab the handle and flip the emotional switch to off. Calm down. It's okay. Calm down. It's okay. Just flip the emotional switch to off. I'm like, tell me the truth. It's clear there are hidden realities, or is it delusions and there's no deception? I suspect or I believe are key words for fantasy turning into reality. Delusions. Only believe things you have firsthand experience of or someone confirms or corroborates to your face value. For example, if a pop star tells me she wrote a song about me, believe it. It's not an idea of reference then. I feel like my mother gets pleasure from my suffering. Let me read to you sadistic suffering. So I'm going to read to you an email that I shared with Dr. Garrett many years ago. This is my email from October 4th, 2018. I said, my parents get off sexually that I was a virgin until I was 24 years old. Had no social life growing up. Was running myself into the ground. Was hospitalized 6 times in 2011. They get off that I went crazy from their abuse. My mom, dad, and stepdad. And this is Dr. Garrett's email on October 4th, 2018. Andrew, it is not a credible idea that your mother, father, and stepfather are sexually aroused by your suffering. One possibility here is that when you are feeling the constraints of your life, you blame your parents by bringing charges of sexual perversity. You and I need to investigate where this feeling that your parents are fiends comes from. Dr. G. And the next one's called Sadistic Suffering. This is my email on October 31st, 2018. I said, I feel like there are women who know about my suffering, can help me, are going to help me, but for right now, they sadistically enjoy watching me suffer. Could this be true, or is this a delusion, and no women care about my existence? Do I need to meet a woman in the future? And this is Dr. Garrett's email on November 1st, 2018. Andrew, there are no women online sadistically enjoying your suffering. This is the same feeling you have about your parents, that they sadistically get off on your suffering. You are imagining the same state of mind exists in other people, whether online or in your home. Instead of saying, I am so unhappy that I feel as though I'm surrounded by people who enjoy my suffering, instead you experience your own suffering as though it were real. You really are suffering, but your parents are not sadists. Online women are not enjoying your suffering. Let me ask you a question that I think you can answer. Who in your life did really enjoy your suffering? Not your parents. Like a puzzle you can solve so you can think about it for a minute. I have written the answer backwards just below. Your feeling that your parents and women online are enjoying your suffering is actually a memory of the past. A real situation of suffering where a certain group of people did enjoy your suffering. That experience has been etched into your psyche, so you keep seeing it all around you, even when it is not really there now in the present. The answer, and he wrote it backwards, the bullies. Dr. J. So Dr. Garrett thinks the bullies are the reason I feel sadistically persecuted, and my parents have good intentions, and it's hostile dependency and codependency. I don't really know what the fuck he was talking about, but I mean it's true, I guess. I mean he's the best in the business at psychiatry, but so he says, how did your parents fund Dr. Garrett's sessions? I feel like he's pretty expensive. That's a very good question. They say sometimes, parents will pay for something that's outside somebody's budget. And, like my parents could have bought me an expensive sports car, something that's outside their budget. Or they could have sent me to like a prestigious university. Instead, they got me the best in the business at psychiatry and psychopharmacology that was outside their budget. And I guess it's going to make all the difference. They sent me to the best in the business at treating schizoaffective disorder, rather than buy me an expensive car, or rather than send me to a prestigious university. They got me the best mental health treatment, basically. So, yeah, I mean, I do agree Dr. Garrett's quite expensive, but, you know, and it was outside my parents' budget, but they paid for it. Do I feel my time with Dr. Garrett was helpful? Yeah, and yeah, I absolutely do. Because prior to meeting with Dr. Garrett, I was just saying my father was running a pedophile ring with my mother and stepfather, and they're all sexually abusing me and raping me, and it just didn't really make any sense. And that was basically the delusions prior to meeting with Dr. Garrett. It's just I was just saying how they were all sexually abusing me, and I was home and voluntarily celibate with no interpersonal relationships in a Joanne Greenberg fantasy world. It was just you know I'm angry that they put me on a mega regimen of psychiatric medications, because what I needed to do was get out there, go to mental health recovery groups, socially interact. But realistically, look at it from my parents' perspective. I was accusing them of raping me in my childhood. I was accusing them of sexually abusing me, and occasionally I would do things like throw bread at them. So it's just like, I mean, I guess from their perspective, I had to be medicated. I don't know. I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I made a lot of progress in realizing, what reality is, and coming out of a psychosis land with Dr. Garrett. I made a lot of progress in mental health recovery with Dr. Garrett is, I guess, my point. The point that I'm getting at here. Yeah, I mean, there was one isolated incident where I threw a loaf of bread at somebody, but it wasn't. No, the reason I threw the bread was because I knew it was. This is many years ago. This is like 2016, 2017. This isn't recent. So he says, "Did you follow it up with the butter?" No, I did not. I did not. I did not, guys. Where was the last place the mayonnaise was hidden? Oh, actually, interestingly enough, guys, I went to the supermarket and I got Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. It's been a while since I've gotten Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. I was making a tuna fish sandwich for lunch because I didn't want to harass my mother for food, so I made myself tuna fish for a tuna fish sandwich for lunch. TV says, "Can you get the Heinz mayonnaise?" I like that one better. It's more creamy. I guess I can. I guess I could get Heinz. All right, so I'm going to be going to NAMI tonight, believe it or not, and I'm kind of tired. Should I lie down for a bit and take a nap, or should I? Because NAMI's from 6:30 to 8 p.m. tonight. So I want to be awake for it. I mean, I could get a cup of coffee, but I don't know. I think it's just a meeting. I don't know what the activity is exactly, but I'm going. I'm gonna engage and I'm gonna have a fun time. You know, it's good to get out. It's good to be around people. The more you go around people, the more likely you are to meet a romantic partner. And that's the story, you guys. That's the story. Somebody says, Andrew, I know you complain about your life, but don't you think many people that have work and responsibilities would think your life is idealistic? I think so. I know I have a family member who works full time, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and he's a little envious of my free time. You know, he's envious of my free time. Oh. Somebody says you're forever at play, Andrew. You're forever playing. So I'm like a child who's playing as a superhero, running around the backyard fighting the bad guys. Right? You know, somebody says, all work and no play makes somebody a dull boy. But what does all play and no work make somebody? That's me. I'm all play and no work. What does that make somebody? I don't know. A daydreamer, somebody who's in a fantasy land, Joanne Greenberg. What does that make somebody, TB? You answer that. All right, guys. I think I'm going to lie down before NAMI tonight. I'm going to try to get a half hour of a nap. All right, guys. Peace out, my amigos and amigas. I'll be back again soon. Thanks for watching.